Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? I hope you guys are doing really well. It's going to be a great day today. Good show, I'm sure. Looking forward to a lot of gear talk today with you guys. Let me know if you guys hear me okay, guys. If it's a little too hot or not hot enough or whatever. Just give me a thumbs up, please, so I know that I'm coming through loud and clear. Let me just adjust one little thing here. Good morning, everybody. So today on Addicted to Gear Live, on our Sunday show, this is show number 64. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff that I have lined up for you guys. Of course, there's our big giveaway. So the giveaway item was the NUX Mighty Plug. We had quite a few people that registered for that. And somebody is going to be walking away with this little cool device today. So stay tuned for that. We're just going to do it later on in the show, just so we give the people that like to wake up late on a Sunday, give them time to wake up, grab their coffee, and tune in so that they can see whether or not they're the lucky winners. And if you haven't already registered, it's a little late. You won't be able to enter the contest today because today was actually the deadline for the draw. So you know what they say: you snooze, you lose, guys. But don't worry, there's going to be more giveaways on the show. This is just one of the giveaways. Definitely want to do that again, so that it's gonna be an ongoing thing. And if you guys tune in regularly, then you'll know when I'm doing the giveaways, and you can participate in the next one as well. So let me take a moment to say good morning to everyone today. Just so you guys know, I'm playing this 60s Strat. I took this one out. I've been playing this one a lot lately, and I'll tell you why. I upgraded the pickups on this guitar this week. I've been doing a lot of pickup swaps this week, guys. I'm kind of tired. I've been playing around, experimenting with a whole bunch of pickups in various guitars. This is one of them, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that as well. And so we'll talk pickups and gear and a whole bunch of other stuff. So let me just take a moment to say good morning. And just want to welcome all the early risers and the familiar faces this morning and answer some of your questions right off the bat. By the way, I did pin a couple of questions while you guys were waiting for the show to start. One of the questions was, what gear have you purchased this week or acquired or thinking about acquiring? And the flip side to that obviously is, what gear is on the chopping block? What gear are you thinking about getting rid of? I mean, it goes hand in hand, right? So yin and yang, so to speak. So if you haven't piped in on that, please pipe in. Don't be shy. I know there's a lot of you guys that are just lurking in the background, and you don't really want to participate in the chat, and you're just listening in, and that's perfectly fine. But it's also great to hear from you guys. So don't be shy. It's a great community here, and there's a lot of great people that are willing to share information. So if you have any questions regarding gear, ask your questions right off the bat. Don't wait till the end, because sometimes we don't have an opportunity to get to it. Today I'm going to try and be on for about an hour. Sometimes we go over a little bit. Last week I think we went over by quite a bit. When the momentum gets started and people start, asking questions, it's easy to go over the time limit. But, generally we keep it loose. If you guys haven't tuned in, just to give you guys an idea of what the channel is all about. Basically, we talk about gear, and it's sort of like, support. It's like a support group for people that are addicted to gear, as I am, and many of the people here today are. We find each other, we come together, we support each other, we talk about gear, and sometimes it's a good thing because we can talk sense into each other. Sometimes it's a bad thing because we encourage, the accumulation of additional gear, but it's all good. And I think it's one of those things where as long as you're getting enjoyment out of what you have, then it's not a bad thing. So let's say good morning to the guys that are already here and gals, if there are any. Generally, I think we're mostly guys here, but girls are welcome as well. So Alan's here, and he seems to be doing well. Alan is telling us that he just had his second vaccination, and he's feeling a little bit like he has the flu. But better safe than sorry, as he says. Well, absolutely, Alan. Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I'm scheduled to get shot later this week. I scheduled a shot on Friday. I figured that way, if I have any little side effects, I have the weekend to kind of recoup and rest up a little bit. Although it is Mother's Day, I think, on this weekend. So, but anyways, it is what it is. I'm looking forward to getting it done, getting it over with. And hopefully, once we all get shot, or most of us get shot, then hopefully this thing will sort of fade away and we can get back to normal. So Jack Collins is here. Good morning, Jack. And he's looking to buy his first Telecaster. He wants to sell his Dimebag Darrell Razorback edition with skull. So a Telecaster is a great move. Big thumbs up for that, Jack. I'm a big fan of Telecasters. If this is your first, congratulations. I think you're going to find that the Telecaster is a very, very versatile guitar. A lot of people don't realize how much versatility is built into a Telecaster. But unfortunately, I, for one, learned that very late in the game. And I love Telecasters now. I think they're great. So I think you're going to like that Telecaster. Jack, let me know what kind of amplifier you're playing through, just so I can get an idea of what kind of sound you're going for in terms of the amplifier. And I can guide you if you need any advice on what amp would match up nicely with the Telecaster. Ed, good morning. Ed says Positive Grid Spark this week was purchased, and he's liking it. He's now gassing for the Epiphone Les Paul Special in TV yellow with P90s. That's a really nice looking guitar, and I really like the P90s. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the TV yellow yet. That's one of the things that I don't know. I think you would have to kind of get used to that color. You might get tired of it, but I think right now that's the only color that they're being offered in. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. The thing about that particular model is there's a lot of other companies that are manufacturing a similar style guitar. So I know you can get them, Harley Benton obviously has some vintage. The Vintage Guitar brand, I think, has a version of that as well. Tokai makes similar style guitar as well. So there's a lot of choice when you're looking for that particular style. But the Epiphone doesn't seem to be very expensive. If I remember correctly, it's about $400 US. So that's pretty reasonable for that style guitar. I don't know if that guitar is comes with a fat neck or a slim neck. I haven't tried it yet, but it definitely looks nice. So I'm giving you a thumbs up on that one as well. Hey, Paul, you're not late. You're early, actually. It's 10 Eastern Standard Time, so I don't know where you are, but you don't seem to be late to me. So all good. Let's see who else is here today. We have Wayne. Good morning. Good morning to you. Cohen. Good morning. Cohen says finally made it on time for once. The Nye. Good morning. So Cohen is finishing his scratch build Telecaster. And when he says scratch build, he's building it from scratch. He needs to round over the edges, apply the finishing, but it's already awesome. Nothing beats playing on your own carved neck. So, Cohen, I've been actually thinking about it. And maybe you can give me some advice on this. There's a couple of guitars that I have that are that I swap the necks out in and replace them with another type of a neck. And there's one in particular that I like, but I feel is a little bit, just a little bit on the thick side. I think it's mostly around the edges of the neck. It's more, I think more along the outer edges. I think it's a little bit more towards a D shape instead of a C shape. So I was considering maybe just lightly sanding it down or reshaping the neck, but I haven't done that before, and I don't want to mess it up. So if there's any advice you can give me on maybe the right approach, that would be greatly appreciated. And I think that's something that I can probably do and probably enjoy the guitar much better after that. So I'm thinking, I don't know if it would just be, taking some sandpaper in the palm of your hand and sanding it down, or actually scraping it or filing it. So I got to do a little bit more research as to what is involved with that. But if you've already done it a couple of times, Cohen, let me know. Give me some tips if you don't mind. So the Gospel of Mark is here. Hey Mark, how's it going? I hope it's going a little bit better for you. Yeah, Mark's had a rough week for sure this week, from what I hear. Hopefully, that's you're getting over that. And he's had a successful acoustic gig last night, so that's great. That's an acoustic guitar session is always a great way to sort of get the emotions out, so to speak. So I hope that went well. Nice to hear that. Darwin's here today. Good morning. Let me just scroll on down here. John, good morning. So you guys can hear me okay. Great. Fat Philosopher's here as well. Good morning. Landon, nice to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Vox Guitars Rock. Ed. Bruce. Dan of New Jersey. So Fat Philosopher wants to share with us as well. He bought in the last couple of weeks 3 guitars, strings, and a Mustang Micro. How are you liking that Mustang Micro, Fat Philosopher? Give us some feedback on that one. I hear some mixed comments on that. Some people like it. Some people say it's okay. Just like to hear your impression on that. Christian, good morning from Germany. I'm looking to buy a new speaker cabinet for my Marshall SV20 and tested a Blug guitar Fat Cab, and I think it's perfect, but I want to test it one more time to be sure. Yeah, Christian, obviously if you got a really nice Marshall and the SV20 is a sweet one, I gotta say. I got the SV20 too, so it's right there. So I agree with you 100% on how great that particular head is. I don't know if you got the head. You must have the head since you're looking for the cabinet. So otherwise, if you had the combo, you wouldn't be looking for the cabinet. I definitely think that you have to have the right cabinet for that particular head. It is very dynamic in terms of the sound that it gives you, and the speaker cabinet and the speaker combination definitely change it quite a bit. You don't want it to sound flabby. You don't want it to sound too spiky or give it too much high end. So the right cabinet is really important. I'm going with the Marshall 412 cabinet in here. And there's original made in England Celestion 65s in there, which I think are a great match for that particular head. They don't get too flabby, even though it's more of a vintage sound. It pushes a lot of air. I find it's well balanced. So, if you can get Celestion 65, I think that would be, in my opinion, a pretty good match. I know they're hard to find, especially the ones that are made in England. I don't know how well the Chinese versions reproduce the sound. Some people tell me that the Chinese speakers are not exactly the same. Or you can also go with the warehouse guitar speaker, which is the equivalent of what is in there. They call it the ET65. It's a white frame on the speaker, and I have that particular speaker with another mixed speaker in that voltage cabinet right back there, which is a 212, and it works really well. I'm not going to tell you it sounds the same. Like, I wouldn't say that the ET65s, the new ones, sound like the vintage ones that I have in that cabinet, but they still sound really good, and they're very nicely balanced. So maybe try that. Once you have the right combo, you're in heaven, man. Tonefish, good morning. Rico, good morning to you, my friends. So I hope some people are tuning in today that have entered the contest, because the draw will be today. And it would be a shame not to have the winner of the grand prize here today. Landon says, been meaning to show them off for a while. They're usually on the wall behind me, but no one has asked about them before. So I think we were referring to some of Landon's guitars that he's been showcasing. I know that there's always new guitars over at Landon's place, so it's always great to see what he's brought in and how he manages to sneak those in past the wife. Hobo Bob is here. He's scheduled for his first shot today at 3. All right, hopefully things go smooth, Hobo Bob, and things go well. I don't know about where you guys are, but here it seems like they don't really tell you what you're going to be getting. Unfortunately, some of the places that you can register for one of these vaccines at, most of the time you have to register online. Some of them list what type of vaccine you're going to be getting, like they actually tell you, and some of them it's not listed. And I think the reason for that is basically it's inventory. They basically will give you whatever they have. Whereas a lot of the places that are providing the AstraZeneca vaccine mention that it's AstraZeneca. And I'm not too crazy about getting that one. I mean, if I have to get that one, I'll get it, but I would prefer to get one of the others. But we'll see what happens on Friday. So it's going to be luck of the draw for me, I think. But I'm still looking forward to it. Rich says, I love P90s in the bridge. John B is here today. Jack Collins says, Boss Katana 100. So is that what you're getting? Is that what you're selling? Not really sure. I think I missed the sequence of comments here. I'm just jumping around. Vox says the Tone King has a comparison video of the Friedman BE Mini and the Blackstar HT5. Friedman is kind of bees in a can. So I've only seen 2 videos so far showcasing the Mini Brown Eye, and it's really small, hey guys. I looked bigger when I saw it the first time, but it's actually like this big. So I'm not sure how great it sounds. I mean, obviously it can be tweaked for the video, and bees in a can. Yeah, it could be. I'm not gonna say no. I haven't tried it myself. So it's interesting to see what this $380 little mini Brown Eye is gonna offer. So I'll wait for some other videos. I'm not in the market for that. I don't think the Brown Eye sound is really what I'm after. I'm more of a classic 60s, 70s rock kind of guy. So for me, honestly, guys, the Marshall is doing it for me. It's really great. I'll talk a little bit about that later on today, but so far, I'm loving it. And I like to play the amps before I actually do a full review, just so I can sort of understand all of the nuances before I talk about it. And honestly, it's great. Highly recommend it so far. And I'm not saying that because somebody, provided it for free. I bought the amp myself, so I'm not this is not a paid promotion or anything like that. Paul says, I'm in Ontario, no vaccine, and $650 fine if you are pulled over in your car and not going to get food, drugs, or a doctor's appointment. Yeah, Ontario's been hit hard. I know it seems like it's aggressive in terms of what they're doing, but honestly, I think you have to encourage people to listen, and if it takes fines, then so be it. You want to get this thing under control, because once it goes out of control, man, it's all it means is it's going to be longer for everyone to get back to normal, and it's not convenient for sure, but I think it's necessary, unfortunately. But hopefully it's not going to be for too long, Paul. Tonefish says the BE Mini sounds like a BE pedal repackaged. I'm not surprised, because it actually, from what I understand, is a pedal platform. They basically gave you, I guess, the circuit of the BE pedal and give it to you in a format that looks like an amplifier. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what it is. John B says, I own a Morris Telecaster from the 70s with humbuckers. I haven't tried any of the Morris stuff, but Telecasters I'm a big fan of. So definitely, if it's from the 70s, I'd hang on to it. It's hard. It's getting harder and harder to get like the vintage stuff, and that's definitely up there now in terms of age. So definitely hang on to that one. Rich says, I just picked up an Orange Micro Terror. Sounds decent so far, but still messing around with it. That's one of the amps that I got. I was looking at an Orange Rocker Verb at one point, but I didn't pull the trigger on it. The Orange stuff seems good, but it definitely has a very specific sound. For me, when I look at an amplifier, specifically, I look for something that allows for more flexibility. Because I don't want to be stuck with one particular tone. If it takes pedals well and has a decent clean, then the world is your oyster. You can mix and match with effects and pedals and whatever to get a lot of different sounds. But when you have like a specific sound, it's kind of hard to dial that out. And I think the Orange stuff is kind of in that category of amplifiers for me. So I didn't grab it. Although the Rocker Verb sounded really good for what it offered, So I'm not dissing the Orange stuff. I think, they're great sounding amplifiers. But for me, I like to get a little bit more flexibility out of my amps. But that all depends how you want to use it, how you're planning on using it. What else here? Seth is here. Good morning, Seth. Sal's here too. Good morning. Bruce says, Tony, I thought you were coming down to New York to start my film. I've been holding off the editing waiting for you. Bruce, did you get the wide angle lens, man? You're going to need a wide angle lens. I'm just warning you, all right? That's funny. For you guys that are not in on this joke, you got to go back and watch some of the previous live shows to get it. Bruce is into porn. So Bruce, if anybody, I'm just kidding. Bruce is not into porn. The Micro is not bad. Fulfills its purpose. However, the control orientations are not the best for a left-handed player. Generally face away from you. Best on an axe with the input jack on the top. That's right, because Fat Philosopher is a left-handed player. So, I could see how that could be an issue and maybe a little bit uncomfortable if you're a lefty. So you're saying it's not bad. So in general, just sound-wise, are you happy with it? Is it worth the cost? Zach says Fender amps sound way better than Marshall amps. Yes and no. it depends. We can go on to a tangent there, Zach. I agree with you. I think Fender amps generally sound good. But on the other hand, they definitely have they have some limitations as well in terms of what kind of tone you're going after. If you want to get an amp that pushes really nice, then for me, the vintage Plexi style circuit is great because you can get it to clean up. I'm plugged into it right now, but it's very loud, guys, so it's gonna saturate. But I'm playing it so low. So right now I'm playing it on 7 on my guitar, and I'm playing it almost at the lowest setting on the low 5 watt setting, not even the 20 watt. It's loud, man. So, I mean, listen to this. That cleans up beautifully. Sounds very Fendery to me. And then if you dig in, you already have a bit of hair on it. And you just, putting the volume up on 10 saturates so nice. But I mean, just dialing back on the volume, beautiful. You can do clean, pretty clean. So that is why I think that the Marshall, depending on the type of Marshall, can give you a really beautiful clean as well as a great pushed sound. And when I'm playing my Fender, I have a Supersonic that I like a lot because it can do a little bit of both. But I find sometimes when you're pushing with a humbucker, they can get a little bit out of control, the Fenders. So there's a place for both. I think they have beautiful cleans. They definitely, the Fenders, in my opinion, definitely have that immediate note response. But the Marshall has that as well. This one. I don't know about the other ones, but this one does. So I'm pretty happy. Paul says the Friedman amp is a rip-off. For the same money, you can get the BEOD pedal and a small Fender combo. Yeah, agreed with you. I have the Friedman pedal. And to be honest with you, it's not one of my favorite pedals. I bought it because I figured it would be a nice complement to the Dirty Shirley that I have right underneath the Marshall right there. Because the Dirty Shirley can give you plenty of gain, but it's not a heavy gain as the BE is, the Brown Eye. So I figured that pedal would be probably a nice complement for that amp in case I want to push it even harder. But playing that Brown Eye pedal, overdrive pedal with some of the other amps didn't give me that warm and tingly feeling. So I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna do a comparison of that particular. I'm gonna show you that overdrive pedal, and eventually I'm gonna do a comparison of that overdrive pedal with 3 or 4 other overdrive pedals that I have currently, just to show you how it sounds compared to the others, and you'll get a better idea of where it sits in terms of a tonality. So Fat Philosopher has a question. My sawtooth has a small metal shavings on the pickup poles. Think the seller used steel wool on it. Should I replace the pickup at once or get away with replacing one at a time? You shouldn't have to replace it. What you can actually do, Fat Philosopher, is just get yourself some rare earth magnets. They're not that expensive. They're pretty powerful. They're pretty strong magnets. And just lightly pass it over the place where you have those shavings, and it should be strong enough to pull the shavings right off, and you'll be fine. Fat Philosopher says, I'm here, Tony, so you can just give it to me. I think he's referring to the grand prize. Is that it, Fat Philosopher? You're going to have to wait. What's fair is fair. We have to do this by the rules. Randy's here. Greetings, Tony, from my world. How's your world? Hey, Randy, so far I can't complain. I've actually been on vacation this last week and a half, so that is why you guys haven't seen any new videos. I've been doing nothing in terms of content. I just needed a break. I was working pretty hard, so I just wanted to take some time off. I still did things around the house, some little repair work and just like little renovation, maintenance type things that I had been neglecting. So, but I haven't done anything in terms of new content this week. It's been rather quiet. So we're going to kickstart the week with the live show, and then I'm going to start trickling out some new content for you guys so that, keep you guys interested. We don't want you guys to, to be tempted with other stuff. We want to keep you guys coming back. Hobo Bob, I have an old 69. Oh, sorry, I must be dyslexic. Sorry, I have an old 96 Squire Anniversary Edition. I got 20-ish years ago, but I think the neck has gone bad. Instead of buying a used guitar, would it make sense to buy a neck instead, still new to the game? Absolutely. Hobo Bob, don't. I mean, if you like what you have and going on in this side of the guitar, you can definitely swap necks on the Squire. But why do you think the neck has gone bad? I'm just curious, because sometimes like necks don't usually go bad. So let me know what the issue is, and I'll tell you how to remedy it, and you might be able to just keep going with that particular neck. Charles, good morning. Charles 75N is here. So Mark says, I work for the government. Mark, are you an FBI agent or a drug enforcement agent? We got to be careful what we say, guys, I work for the government, so I didn't have a choice. I got the Moderna. Everyone I know got the Pfizer. We all got sick from the shots. Really? How sick did you get? You're making me get worried now. I don't want to ruin my upcoming weekend if I'm not going to be feeling well. But my parents got the Moderna and they were fine. I think the only thing they felt was maybe a little bit like sleepy, like tired. So we'll see. John says, hello everyone. Sorry I stopped following the chat for a bit. Hello Landon. Hello to the regulars from all the chats. Good morning. Quicksilver, good morning. I'm just trying to catch up with the chats. I'm falling behind here, guys. Jack says, that's what I want to play my Telecaster through. So Jack, sorry, did I miss that one? Sorry, Jack, what did you want to play your Telecaster through? Sorry, I think I missed that one. Fat Philosopher says, Tony, missed my question. Best place for a P90s and a Strat, bridge, middle, or neck? I think they're all good. Generally, I'll usually stick with the bridge, sometimes the neck. But if the set of P90s is really good, the middle position should be fine as well. It's really, all the positions should be usable. So I'm just jumping around, guys. Sorry for the delay here. Quicksilver says, I had a Joyo cab box that stop. I had a Joyo cab box that stop. Okay. Does that mean it stopped working, or I don't know what happened there. Must have got distracted. I pulled the trigger. Seth says, I pulled the trigger on an Allen Aiden finished body this week. Arrived quickly. I'm definitely impressed. 4 pieces, but good grain match. An excellent poly finish. 120 bucks shipped. Works for me. I've tried those bodies, Seth, and yeah, they're good value. I didn't have any issues. I think the only thing that I noticed, and this was a while ago, so maybe they corrected this, but the neck pocket on those bodies were the carve for the neck was more of a flat carve as opposed to a rounded carve like for the Strat necks. You know, you hear basically on the Strats when you pull off the neck, the pocket is rounded. That one, at least the one I had at the time, was more flat. So you had to get a neck that was generally flat at the bottom, like a Telecaster. So that was one of the issues with those bodies at the time, but they might have fixed that now. I don't know. Pipe in, you can let me know if yours is like that. So Cohen says, if it's just a small correction, you can use scrapers and then sand. Only using sandpaper will be difficult to control the results. Yeah, I just want to be sure that I don't go crazy with the scrapers, because obviously you can go, you know, it's easy to remove way too much. What scrapers would you recommend? I also was looking at the Shinto files, Cohen. I don't know if you know what those are, but it's basically a file that is made from a series of saw blades, and apparently one side is more aggressive than the other. You can take off quite a bit of wood using those particular files, but I don't know if that's the best way of going about it. I still haven't worked up enough courage to tackle that, and I'd like to go more sort of less aggressive, so to make sure I don't scrap that neck, because I like it. But it's great. It would be great experience to learn how to do that, because you can then buy some aftermarket like OEM necks that are not going to be as expensive as the Fender necks are, and shape them however you like. If you like, you know, a slightly thinner neck, or, you know, something in between what the standard neck shapes are, you can definitely do that if you know how. So, but then it would definitely mean a refinish on that neck as well. Seth says hardtail Strat 3-tone vintage burst. Is that what you acquired, Seth, or are thinking about acquiring? Here we go. Quicksilver says, I had a Joyo cab box that stopped working, sent it back to the store. Warranty laws in the EU. Got my money back and in full, and got the Strymon Iridium sounds sweet. I think you made a good choice. I think the Iridium is a really nice unit that would probably give you more satisfaction than the Joyo cab box would in the long run. And Quicksilver says, by the way, the NUX I can't even pronounce it properly. Cerberus. I think it's still too early for me. The NUX Cerberus sounds great as well. I had the Cerberus for a while. I was happy with it, but I ended up selling it. I think I just ended up flipping it because I was getting into the multi-effects units, and I'm slowly weaning away from the multi-effects units once again, guys. I think the honeymoon phase with those units is slowly dying out. There is just one other one I'd like to try, the MG30 from NUX. I'm just curious about that one. I still have the MG300 here, but I'm playing them less and less, especially now that I have the Marshall here. Randy says, I'm building a new pedal board. I just purchased a Boss MS3. Thoughts? Well, for me, the Boss, basically the Boss stuff is great. I don't, you don't have to go boutique. I think a lot of people now are pushing the boutique type pedals. The Boss stuff is great. They're workhorses. They're affordable. They're basically indestructible. So putting together a small pedal board with Boss stuff is fantastic. The MS3, although I don't have an MS3. I've heard samples, and I mean, it does what it does really well. No issues with that. I don't think you can really go wrong with Boss stuff. And I think the Boss stuff is still on a lot of like professional performers pedal boards, and there's nothing to be ashamed of there. I think you're getting good value for your money with the Boss stuff, personally. So let me scroll down a little bit more, because I'm scrolling down all the way to the bottom, guys. So, and I'll work my way back up. So if I missed your comment or your questions, just ask it again. I tend to jump around as I go. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so Seth says that the Eden neck pocket was slightly beveled, perfect for the 2013 Fender US glossy maple neck that's going on it. Awesome, awesome. You know, it's great to still be able to find some sellers that are offering parts like bodies at a reasonable price, because it's getting crazy. The prices are all going through the roof, and if you want to put together a parts caster, at the end of the day, it's going to end up costing you, you know, the same price as a fully put together Fender on the used market that's, you know, made in Mexico or something like that. So it's almost like getting to the point where it's not even worth the effort anymore, unless you want to build something that is very unusual or specific. Simon says, what Fender Stratocaster do you have? Well, I'm holding, this is a 60s style Strat, 3-tone sunburst, rosewood neck. I did a full review on this one. I have two versions of this guitar. One is made in Japan, and this is a Mexican. Honestly, I love them both. The Mexican has a slightly beefier neck than the one that's made in Japan, which I like, and that's the reason why I bought two, because they don't feel the same. They look the same, but they don't feel the same. This one was purchased used, very good condition, as you can see. I did. This one came with Lawler pickups, which I threw away. Well, not threw away. I sold them. I didn't like them. I then replaced them with a set of Tone City. Sorry, not Tone City. I replaced them with a set of Tone Rider City Limit pickups, which I have in 2 or 3 of my guitars. That particular set of single coils sound really good. They give me just enough bite, and they still stay clean. And I recently took a chance and swapped out the City Limit pickups for a set of Peg City pickups that are now in this guitar. The Peg City pickups are the VS61s, and they sound really good. Like, I'm really happy. For me, the Tone City pickups are my go-to inexpensive single coil pickups. I find for the money, even for pickups that cost more than what they cost, they sound great. So there's no real reason to go with pickups that are super expensive. But I took the chance, and I wanted to hear the Peg City VS61s, and I put in a set, and basically they have the vintage stagger. The pole pieces have the little bevel around them, like the vintage ones originally did. They also use Alnico 5 magnets, which give you a lot of nice bite if you need it, but also stay clean at lower volumes. And the outputs on all of these are in the 6K range. The bridge is slightly hotter, about 660. And I think the neck is the weakest at about 6.8 18K, something around there. But they sound really nice. That's what you heard earlier. I know you can't really get a good representation of the sound through the way I'm miking for this live stream, but they sound really nice. If I go to the neck sounds really full. I'll do a full review of these pickups as well. That's something else that I have coming. But really nice sounding pickups. By the way, guys, just because I like giving back to you guys, because you guys have been following me and being very loyal to not only to the channel, but also to the live chats. I'll put a link, if it's not already in there, in the notes section for today. If you're interested in grabbing these pickups from Peg City, there's a link in there with a discount code that you can punch in, and I think you can get a 15% discount on these pickups. So if you're interested, you can definitely grab a set. As I mentioned, they're made in Canada. I like to support Canadian businesses, especially small businesses. And you know, Chris is a super guy. He's very attentive to your needs. If you need something specific, Chris can definitely accommodate. So if you're interested in a great sounding set of pickups, try the Peg City pickups. The VS61s that I have are amazing, and I'm super happy with them. So that's it for today in terms of the freebies. All right, so you can grab that one and save yourself a few bucks. Should we get to the draw? What do you guys think? Should we get to the draw, or should we wait a little bit more? Maybe we'll wait a couple more minutes. That did sound like it. The Pink Floyd a little bit, eh? A little bit. I didn't mean for it to sound like that. That's just what came out. Is it the same chords? I don't think so. Yeah, it's not the same chords. I love that little Pink Floyd riff. I just don't get a neck from Stratosphere. Just don't get a neck from Stratosphere unless you have lots of cash. Some necks, they want around $600. Vox, I'm not a big fan of the Stratosphere. I've said it in my videos before. I didn't have a good experience working with them. Not working with them. I actually bought a neck from them. They shipped the wrong neck to me. When I tried to contact them to correct the mistake, they told me that the original neck that I had bid on was sold, so they couldn't give it to me. So I ended up with a neck that I didn't want, and they didn't really go out of their way to try and make me happy or, you know, offer me some kind of compensation for their mistake. And obviously sending it back would have costed me more money. So I kind of scratched them off my list, and I'm not getting anything from the Stratosphere anymore. So you can go and buy stuff from them if you wish, but I'm not. Where is the best place to buy a Fender neck at a reasonable price? Yeah. Really, you have to keep your eyes open. They do pop up on eBay from time to time. The thing is, most of them are used, or they're removed from other guitars, so you don't know whether or not the neck has issues. Obviously, when you're buying a neck sight unseen, you don't know what the profile is, and although the seller might be able to accurately describe it for you, it's kind of hard. You're taking a chance. The only thing I can tell you guys is If you can buy local, obviously that's better, but there's not a whole lot of used Fender necks that pop up, at least from what I can see. You can always get necks from other companies that are not Fender. Warmouth comes to mind. They have some pretty nice looking necks. Sometimes they have a little section on their website called Screaming Deals. They might be, returns or B stock. I'm not really sure, but they usually sell those necks for less money, and they do have a good reputation. You can also look at Mighty Might necks that are not necessarily as good as Fender necks, but they've worked for me in the past. And obviously, when you're buying those type of necks, you're gonna have to do some work on them. You're gonna have to level the frets, and you might have to work on sanding down the side of the frets a little bit, because you might have fret sprout or whatnot. But I usually do that to all of my necks anyways, so not a big deal. Definitely can save you some money. You can get a Mighty Might neck for about, I'm gonna say, 150 to 170 bucks, usually on on eBay. Decent price. Definitely a lot less than the 300 or 350 you're gonna be paying for a Fender neck. So there's that. Tonefish says I might be addicted to stainless steel frets. That's pretty cool. I only have stainless steel frets on 2 of my guitars, and I can't say I'm a big fan. I like the fact that the stainless steel necks last a lot longer in terms of the divots that you normally get on the frets. They don't happen as quickly because it's a harder material. That being said, if the neck is not perfectly set up and the fret work is not really well done, it's harder to actually work on the frets if they're stainless steel. The one thing I noticed with stainless steel frets is you get a ping. You get this ping sound, which I'm not a big fan of, actually. Hard to hear it, but it's there. Pay attention when you're playing. You're going to hear, like, when you initially attack a note, there's a little ping. So nobody's going to really hear that in a live situation, but if you're playing quietly, you will hear it. So I guess that's just a little drawback in terms of what the added value of having stainless steel frets on your guitar could offer you. So Landon says, where did you purchase your made in Japan Strat? I've never tried out a made in Japan guitar from Fender, but would like to. Landon, when I bought that guitar, I bought it quite a few years ago. I bought it on eBay, to be honest. And it's funny because it's not... How can I put this? Originally, Fender made in Japan guitars were not considered at par with the US stuff. It was like you had the US Fender merchandise, models, whatever you want to call them. And then you had, like, lower down on the totem pole, the made in Japan stuff. So then the made in Mexico stuff came out, and obviously that was less expensive. So a lot of people ended up buying the made in Mexico stuff. But then people realized that the made in Japan stuff was just as good as the made in US models. And a lot of people ended up, like, realizing that and snagging up all these made in Japan models. And now they're kind of hard to get because they're actually pretty expensive. You can still find them. You can still find them on eBay. But they're not as much of a deal anymore. When I bought it, that guitar, I think, costed me $500, which is peanuts today. And it plays beautifully. One of the guitars that I will never probably sell. So you can keep your eyes open on the used market and on eBay for them. But the cat is out of the bag right now. People know that the Japan stuff is good. And and so they're harder to find at reasonable prices. Same for the Tokai. You know, like when I bought the Tokai stuff, it was still quite reasonable because people didn't really know about the Tokai brand and specifically the Japanese versions. Now everybody knows that stuff, and it's, you look at the prices and you'll see like the Tokai Japanese Les Paul versions that they offer are, you know, they're getting up there right now. You're not able to get them under $1,000 anymore. Whereas when I started buying them, I was able to get them. So I ended up grabbing as many as I could find at a good price. Yeah, Bruce Brooks, you said it, brother. There's no such thing as a genuine fender neck at a reasonable price anymore, unless you get extremely lucky. And it's a shame. Wormouth has 0 in stock. Oh, there you go. Be careful buying official fender necks on Amazon. I've had good experience, but one time was I'm reading too quickly. Be careful buying official fender necks on Amazon. I've had good experiences, but one time it was a returned. It sold as new. Okay, so it was a return item, or let's say a B stock item that is sold as new. I think this is par for the course with Amazon with a lot of sellers. I think a lot of the stuff just gets repackaged and shipped out to someone else. I've never bought a Fender product on Amazon. Interesting. I don't really think of Amazon as a place to buy guitar parts most of the time, unless it's like something I'm looking for that's extremely inexpensive, like Chinese gear. So, but maybe I should take a look at that next time. Landon Bailey, our local dealer, has several made in Japan Strats and Telecasters. Probably the best Strat I've tried is the Japanese Paisley. Pink is an acquired taste, though. Yeah, those Paisley pink Japanese Telecasters were quite popular when they originally came out. I remember the original. I actually played one. Never owned one. Was interesting, looked really cool, but obviously Paisley's not for everyone, right? But definitely played really nice when I tried it. Okay, guys, should we take a little break? Let's take a little break and announce the winner. All right, should we do that? I know you guys have been waiting, so before we lose too many people, we're 40 people here today so far. A decent amount. So I think, yeah, we can definitely roll out the winner. Let's do that. Let's get that out of the way. Then we'll chit-chat a little bit more, and then we'll wrap things up. How's that? I know some of you guys are busy and you have other things to do today, and you came specifically for the draw. So I put the names in this little box. This is the magic winner box. And I'm not going to look. I'm just going to mix them all up, and I'm going to grab one. All right. So just so you can see it's on the up and up. I'm not going to. And there's more than one in here, right, guys? There's not. You can see that there's quite a few names. Oop. I think I dropped one. Shit. Hold on a second. Oh, man. Just when you want it to go smooth. Okay. It's back in there. So let's draw a name. Let's try and pick one from the bottom. Okay, so here we go. I'm not looking. I'll go with this guy. And the winner is... So the winner is Mark Johnson from Frederick, Maryland. Mark, there you go. Mark, you're still here, aren't you? So there is the grand prize winner of the NUX Mighty Plug. So I'm going to be shipping that out to Mark. Let's give Mark a round of applause. I'm not going to put in the cheesy sound effects. Mark, this is yours, buddy. I hope you like it. It'll be shipped out, sent out to your place within the next couple of days or so. totally free as a thank you from Addicted to Gear, and hopefully you enjoy it. So I'll put the grand prize winner's name right here so I do not forget who to send it to. And congratulations to Mark. Is Mark still here? Yeah, Mark is still here, right? Cool, Mark. Awesome, dude. Congratulations. And Mark is a regular subscriber and tunes into our shows all the time. So that's really great. Hopefully that makes your week a little bit better, Mark. Good karma, you know? So that's awesome. So now that we got that out of the way, and Mark is going to be enjoying the Mighty Plug, let's continue talking about some gear. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about very quickly. Have you guys seen the Joe Walsh video that's out? Joe Walsh has a signature PRS model, the 594 limited edition. And they did a video where he's playing the guitar and he's talking about the guitar and how great it is and what. And I like Joe Walsh. I mean, Joe's great. He seems like the type of guy that is always like hungover. Even though he seems to be sober and he's been sober for years, he still slurs his words, you know. I guess it's a combination of after effects of too much partying and I guess some aging. Hey, my pleasure, Mark. My pleasure. Congratulations, dude. So this guitar, you know, he's actually talked about this guitar and they shot a video. Obviously, he's going to tell you how good it is and all that. Now, keep in mind, this guitar is $8,500 Canadian. Okay, so I don't know what that is in US money, but it's still a big chunk of change. And it looks a lot like the PRS that I have, that is the American version. Not a big difference. I paid that guitar under $2,000 when I bought it, but this was many years ago. Nowadays they're probably closer to like $3,500. Anyways, long story short, I was intrigued. I wanted to see what he would say about it, and he was going through why he liked it and why he thought it was so great. But then when it came time to actually playing it, the sound was terrible, man. It sounded like bees, you know, like bees in a can. And he was playing the PRS through a PRS amplifier as well, but it didn't sound good. And a lot of people have commented on that video because of the sound. And I'm sure the guitar sounds a lot better than what came through on that video. But it just seems like if you're going to be trying to convince people to buy an $8,500, throw the taxes on that, you're looking at a guitar that's close to $10,000 when all is said and done. You should definitely make sure it sounds good. So it's a shame because, they probably had to make that video quick, and maybe, Joe doesn't have all the time in the world to accommodate you, but it's just weird. So if you've seen this video, just let me know what you think. I mean, I totally agree with Joey. It's just too damn much for a guitar. I mean, the prices are getting ridiculous now. And I just have to vent now and then. Like the Gibson stuff as well. The Murphy Age stuff. It's a lot of money, man. It's very expensive. And I know that some people want that and they can afford it. And why not if you can afford it? But I mean, the regular working Joe can't afford that kind of stuff. We're not all rock stars, And although it's a limited edition, it's a signature model, whatever, I get it. But it's just like how many times do you have to hit the guy that's, trying to scratch enough money together to buy a guitar, a decent guitar, I don't know, man. It just sounded like it almost sounded like it was recorded with an iPhone or something. I mean, I put videos on my Instagram from time to time that I record with my iPhone, and the sound is not very good, but it's not meant to be a studio production. it kind of sounded like that, you know. So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the production value there wasn't very good. So Mark says, I bought a PRS Archon amp and it sounded like ass. I returned it and got a Mesa Fillmore 50. PRS makes great guitars, but don't dig the amps. I'm from Maryland, so I have a lot of pride in PRS. Yeah, I know. Dude, I like PRS guitars. I think you're right about the amps. I think the Achilles heel of a lot of the PRS stuff is the amps. They haven't gotten to where they need to be, and they're trying to sell them at a premium cost. At least the better quality stuff, I'm going to say, they're trying to sell them at a premium price. And, you know, it's like, guys, it's not a vintage amplifier or anything like that. It's a production model. I mean, why do we have to overpay for everything? Are you trying to be the Apple of the amp industry now, you know, and overcharge for everything? So I haven't purchased any PRS amplifiers. I also think that, you know, right off the lot, you're losing a lot of money on the depreciation value of the PRS stuff, because over time, I don't know, they don't really retain their value. Like if you buy a Marshall, as it gets older, maybe not all of the new stuff, but you know, the older stuff keeps on at least maintaining the price, because people are always looking for those older amplifiers. But the new stuff, it comes and goes so quickly. So I think that the Fillmore 50 is probably a way better option, and I think you made the right choice there, Mark. The average working Joe. Yeah, Vox Guitars Rock is on the ball, man. He caught my joke there. The average working Joe, exactly. We're not all Joe Walsh here, right? Bruce says, when did Joe Walsh become a PRS guy? I always thought of him as a Duesenberg guy. I think Joe, I've seen Joe sponsoring quite a few things. I think Joe likes to sponsor whatever he can get for free. So I've seen him do that a couple of times. Whatever. I mean, so Rico B says, did you understand what Joe meant by the neck being lower than most other guitars? No, I didn't actually. I didn't. I caught that, Rico, but I don't know. I don't know what he was talking about. I don't know if he meant lower here, like it's basically, it comes down more, because the neck's not lower. I really don't understand what he meant. I think that's what he meant. It's just the scale length. I think that's what he was talking about. I could be wrong, but that's my take on it. Mike David says, have we talked about the Studio Plexi yet? It's EL84s, right? How loud is it compared to your old bass breaker? I thought the bass breaker was a loud 15 watts. Can you bridge the inputs? Sure, I'd love to give you my thoughts on that. Sure, anytime. I mean, Mike, I love this amplifier, honestly. I lucked out with this amplifier. I had mentioned last week how, at least in Canada, they're still sold out most everywhere. Some of you have mentioned that Sweetwater had some, and I did notice that there was a couple of retailers in the US that do have them. Now, I didn't want to buy from the US because obviously the exchange, the duties, and whatnot. But I got so lucky. It was like a sign from God when I found somebody local that had one, and he wanted to sell it. And it was brand new. I mean, the guy used it for literally like 90 minutes. Okay, that's about it, because he lives in a condo and it was just too loud for him. So when I looked at the amp, not one scratch, basically new. And I got a substantial discount over the selling price. No taxes. It's beautiful. It all worked out fine. So I can't say enough about this particular amp, and honestly, I did have my reservations, because I did have the Black Star, the JJN, which is a Marshall type combo. I do have the Friedman, which is a sick, hell of an amplifier. Great sound. So there's a lot to live up to with that one. I also have the Brunetti Pleximan, which is basically, this Italian designer's take on the Plexi, which is a fabulous amplifier as well. So, when I brought in the Marshall, in my mind, I was basically convinced that one of the other amps that I currently have would need to go. That's how my reasoning goes when I buy gear. I don't like to hoard stuff. It's always a comparison. So I basically bring something in, whether it's a guitar, a pedal, an amplifier, and I compare it to what I currently have. And then I basically upgrade. So if I feel that one of the amps or one of the guitars is underperforming compared to the current lineup, that's typically what goes. That's typically what I end up selling. So when I brought in that Marshall, I said to myself, there's a good chance that one of these other amps would need to go. So which one will it be? So let me give you my take on the Marshall Studio Plexi. Honestly, guys, if you're into a good rock foundation, if you like the 60s and 70s tones, definitely a great place to start. Now, if some of you are into more modern music and you feel like, I'm not a classic rock guy, I need something with more gain, honestly, that amp with pedals will get you there, as long as you have the right cabinet, okay? There's really no limitation. I had a conversation with another fellow that was on the live chat last week, and he had asked me what to buy, okay, and I at one point he was looking at something that can get a little bit of that Marshall tone, so he was asking me whether or not I would recommend the Brunetti, and I told him the Brunetti is a great amplifier. He ended up getting a Car Telstar. So if any of you guys know the Car lineup of amps, they're great quality amps. They're just too darn expensive. I mean, I've been looking at Car amps for a while. They make some really nice combos. So this particular one, the Telstar, sounds great. It definitely can give you a nice clean sound. It can do the early Marshall breakup. It's a combo, but it's also $2,400 US. So that in Canada, that would be like, almost a $3,000 combo amp. So it's just too expensive. And the disadvantage with that particular amp, although it sounds amazing, is that there's no effects loop in it. So if you want to put in some modulation effects or whatnot, you can't really do it. You're kind of limited in what it has to offer. So this is where I feel the Marshall Studio Vintage really shines. EL, there's a set of ECC83 tubes, preamp, and then there's two EL34s, power section. So you're getting that EL34 sound. And one of my biggest concerns with the Marshall was that it wouldn't really sound like a Plexi because it's a smaller format, it's lower volume, and they have to make cut somewhere, right? So I've had a Plexi before. I've had an original Marshall Plexi reissue. I have had a kind of a boutique version of that was hand wired as well. So I'm familiar with the Plexi sound. Great sound, way too loud. Okay, that's the only way I can put it. So the Marshall Studio, because it's only 20 watts and can go all the way down to 5 watts, it's a lot more manageable than a 50 watt Marshall, although it's still very, very loud. So if you're thinking that this is a bedroom amp, it's not. It's not a bedroom amp. You're definitely going to be louder than what is going to be comfortable in a bedroom setting, unless you can put some pedals into it and kind of control the volume with your pedals or an attenuator. There's no built-in attenuation. And the 5-watt switch works great, but it's still loud, even at 5 watts. So that in a nutshell is, but you're getting great Marshall tone. And it doesn't sound like my Friedman. It doesn't sound like my Brunetti. And it doesn't sound like my Blackstar. They all do something slightly different, but the authentic plexi sound, the raw sound with a great clean, comes from the Marshall. It definitely does. The Brunetti gives you all the flexibility that you could want, and it gets really close to the recorded sound of the plexi. But from what I remember, that is really giving you the plexi sound. Okay, so if that's what you're after, definitely grab one. And at the price that they're selling for, it's still a very good price, $1,400 Canadian, very reasonable. The unit is light. It's got the effects loop. Definitely gives you plenty of bottom end. You can jumper the ins, so you have the low and the high. You can jumper them together and definitely fill up the bottom end as much as you need it to be. It gives you enough cut to be able to be heard in a mix. This amp is going to be no problem in a band situation. You're definitely going to come through in the mix. Definitely gives you dynamic picking. You can definitely, just by pulling back the volume on the guitar, you can get it to clean up so nice. And putting the volume on full, you have really nice breakup. The sweet spot is around 7 on the dial. So it's still pretty loud. Like if I have to put it on 7 right here now, it's going to be loud. I'm definitely getting ringing in my ears when I'm playing the amplifier. And I just want to get it in the sweet spot with no pedals. It's loud. So you have to be aware of that. If you have tinnitus like I do, you don't want to go too crazy with that. But it takes pedals really well, and there's no real limitations from what I can see. And I'm still working with the stock tubes, which I assume are not the best. So whenever it's time to actually upgrade the tubes, we can put in some better quality tubes in there, and we'll see how it sounds. I think, honestly, one of the really great things that Marshall has done in the last, I'm going to say, 10 years, is coming out with a lower wattage version with everything that we love. The only other thing that they could have done, I guess, is offer a hand-wired version, because it's a circuit board design. But honestly, I've had the hand-wired versions, I've had the circuit board design, and it wasn't a huge difference. The only advantage is that the hand-wired versions tend to be easier to fix. So there's that, right? But for the price, I can't complain. Definitely well worth the money. So that was my rant on the Marshall. I hope I answered your question there. And for those of you who are not into Marshalls, I hope I didn't bore you too much. Let me go back to some of the other questions here. So Fat Philosopher says there's also a video of Dave Mustaine playing a Gibson Les Paul, and you can tell that he ain't enjoying it much. Yeah, I saw that one, Fat Philosopher. I saw it. I agree with you, man. There's been a lot of water under the bridge between Dave and Gibson and whatnot, so it seemed forced to me, and it's a shame. There's a lot of people that love Gibson, so I don't know why Gibson is going out of their way to bring people on board that are not enthused by their instruments, but he didn't seem like he was. Fat Philosopher says the Tony's dog run away. No, she's there. She's right there. She's asleep. You can see a little pile of fur right there underneath my Paul Reed Smith. That's her. She's sleeping. She's getting old, guys. She spit out a tooth yesterday. She was eating. My wife had given her a carrot, and she just like spit out a tooth, a molar. I mean, she's 12 years old, so she's not a spring chicken anymore. But so she sleeps a lot. Paul says a lot of the guys need sponsorships. They never handled money well when they had it. And without gigs, the money from recording these days is next to zip. I tend to agree with you on that. And I think that although I'm sure Joe Walsh has enough money coming in through his royalties that he doesn't have to worry about it, extra money, extra guitars, it's always a good thing. Mike says, great review. You've convinced me to start looking for an SV20. I assumed they used the EL84s, but I'm happy to learn they have the EL34s. Thanks, Tony. Or rather not, thanks for spending my money. Mike, I mean, if you're playing gigs, the thing's 20 pounds. It's not very heavy. It's a great grab and go head. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm stoked about it. And it plays so nice with humbuckers. And that's one of the things, like not all guitar amps play well with both single coil and humbuckers. That one does. It definitely does. And I'm going to say that although I love my Brunetti Pleximan, I will not sell that amplifier because it does sound really great. The Brunetti is a little bit more finicky in terms of what guitar you're playing through and what cabinet you're playing through. I just feel like the Marshall is very simple. There's no tweaking, whereas the Brunetti does give you switches and does give you more gain stages and whatnot. So it's overall more of a, let's say, it has more bells and whistles on it as opposed to the Marshall Plexi that is just pretty simple. Although it's great. It's everything you need and nothing that you don't. That's the simplest way I can say it. Vox wants to know if anyone here has a Chapman guitar. I don't. I've never purchased a Chapman guitar. She's camouflaged. Yeah, my dog blends into the carpet a little bit. Fat Philosopher says the new Chapman guitars look awesome. Definitely look great. I haven't tried one. I think the prices are slowly creeping up on the Chapman guitars as well. I don't like the reversed headstock situation on the Chapman guitars. I probably would try one if the tuners were on the top and not on the bottom. I don't know. I just find that uncomfortable and a little bit awkward. Paul confirms that Joe has about $35 million in the bank. Not too shabby. I mean, I don't think he has to worry about his next meal. He's no Elon Musk or he's far from Jeff Bezos. Poor Jeff only has $215 billion with a B. And that's after he paid his wife the alimony. He basically had to give her a big chunk. Poor Jeff. If you calculate how much money Jeff has, and I think I put it into perspective for my kids, because today, billion is a big word, right? You don't really understand how much money $1 billion is. At the time, I think I had put it into perspective by mentioning how much Bill Gates had, okay? And I was basically telling my son, if Bill wanted to count his money, like dollar by dollar, it would take him over 35 years to count his money. And Jeff has gone way past what Bill Gates has, right? So Imagine you have to count every dollar and it takes you 35 years to count your stash. I mean, it's incredible, you know? Fender seems to get all the young new stars to sponsor her Nova Twins, while Gibson and PRS are getting these artists past their prime. Yeah, I mean, those are, the rock stars of old, right? I mean, at the end of the day, who are you gonna get? There's not that many new up and coming guitarists that haven't been already snagged up by one company or the next, right? So you have to keep your eyes open and keep things moving. The other cool thing, I don't know if you guys heard, but Jared James Nichols has come across one of the earliest Gibson bodies from it looked like a Les Paul, but with P90s in it. And it was basically ruined by, I think it's a tornado or something. So there's no neck on the guitar, but he still has the body, and it's got P90s on it. It's a gold top. Anyways, he's having the guitar restored, which I think is really a great thing. He's not going to have the body like refinished or anything like that. So it's going to have the battle scars on it, but I'm sure he's going to have a brand new neck put on it and whatnot. And it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be killer. And it's interesting to see the P90s on that guitar had two screws holding them on a diagonal. There's pictures on the internet if you guys are interested in checking that out. But I love when artists do that, because it's like just to show you that, the old stuff is still good, and, there's no reason to have to go out and buy a $10,000 PRS when, you have this beautiful hunk of wood that you can, rework and basically get the mojo back into it, So I think I applaud people that do that. I'm really happy about that. So what are we talking about here? So Vladimir Putin has more money than Bezos? Could be. I don't know how much money he's got scrolled away. Mike says 1,000,000 seconds is 11 days. 1,000,000,000 seconds is 30 years. Yeah, 1,000,000,000 seconds is 30 years, and he's got, what, 215 billion? So yeah, he's gonna, and that's if he's pretty fast. Like if he's counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, pretty fast. Man, I wish I had that problem. My bank account will take me like 2 minutes to count. Totally different. Right now, in terms of pedals, guys, I'm pretty happy with what I have, but I have been eyeing a Univibe. And I think it's largely due to the fact that the Marshall has kind of gotten me into that Hendrix kind of flavor lately. And I think with the Strat, with the clean channel of the Marshall, slightly broken up, a Univibe would be great. So I've been kind of eyeing some Univibes, and I've been looking at some of the offerings from different companies. And honestly, there's a lot of great sounding units out there. MXR makes one, and there's a lot of boutique manufacturers out there that are kind of trying to get the vintage Univibe tone into their pedals. But from what I've seen, the comparative videos that I've watched, honestly, I'm pretty happy with the TC Electronics version, which is the Vicious Vibe. It sells for about $135 new. Sounds pretty good to me, and it's got the the ability to upload your sounds and the tone prints and whatnot. I've been pretty happy with the TC Electronics stuff lately, guys. I got a couple of them now on my board. I got the tuner on my board. I got the delay. I got the reverb. I also have the chorus, but I haven't really been using the chorus much. And I think I think that pedal would be so fun. I think it'd be a great addition. So maybe in upcoming videos you might see that one around. I'll see if I can find a used one or something. Vox Guitars Rock said, I wish I could have my body refinished. You and me both, buddy. I did some work and I'm sore all over. Like every freaking joint hurts. I'm getting to the age now where I'm making the old man sounds. You know, when I'm bending over to tie my shoe and stuff. You hear me like, ugh, what a night. Have you seen the ad for the pedal movie? Has anyone watched it yet? Yeah, I did see the ads pop up in my feed, but I thought it was going to be free. And it turns out it's not free. I think they're charging for it. I think if it's $3.99 to rent, and I think $9.99 to own or something like that. So I haven't watched it yet. Maybe some of you have. You can pipe in if you have or not. I just feel like if they're charging for it, it's kind of like it's a veiled attempt at advertisement for reverb. And I could be wrong. Maybe if you guys have seen it, you can let me know. But I'm not sure what to make of it yet. I haven't decided whether or not I want to pay for it, but I might if I'm bored. So Dan of New Jersey wants to know if I'm using any Klon clones or recommendations. So I do have a Klon clone. It's right here. It's pretty much it's pretty much in the script. There's nothing on it. This is made by 68 Pedals. The same people that made the King of Klon that I have, which is a King of Klon clone. Now this is a clone of a Klon. Tongue twisters. Great sounding little pedal. I think it sounds fantastic. I don't use it all that much because this particular pedal needs to be played with the right amp. I think it works really well with the Fender. I haven't tried it with the Marshall yet, but I have a feeling it could sound really nice with the Marshall. I haven't tried it yet. But one of the pedals that I've actually come back to now that I have the Marshall is the Mojo Hand Rook. The Mojo Hand Rook, guys, if you haven't already tried it, it's a really great sounding unit. And it's got a couple of different types of clipping that you can choose. There's a little switch there. You have 3 different types of clipping, which really react different to one another. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. But the thing that I like the most about that particular pedal is how transparent it remains. And when I'm using it with the Marshall, I can just push it a little bit without necessarily coloring the tone. And I can get the Marshall down to more manageable volumes without losing that sound. Great pedal, and I'm glad I kept it. So does that answer your question, Dan? That's the only clone of a Klon that I had. I did have a, at one point I had a Tone City, what was it called? The Golden, was it the Golden Plexi? No, it was another one. The Golden Horse, or the Horsey, which was a Klon, supposed to be a clone as well. I think I still have that pedal somewhere. It sounds pretty good, but I can't really say how authentic it is to the actual real Klons because I don't have one. I did look at the Archer for a while, and I probably would pick one up eventually. I think the Archer does sound really, really good in terms of a clone, but I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. William says the Vicious Vibe sounds awesome. I like it more than my Deja Vibe. Well, that's great. Thank you for that, William. You're encouraging me to go that route. So you've tried both side by side. Awesome. Like I said, the TC Electronics stuff so far, I've been pretty pleased with what they've come up with. I haven't really been too disappointed with the TC Electronics stuff. I think the only thing that they haven't really nailed yet is a good drive pedal. But I could be wrong. I mean, I didn't try all their stuff yet. Boss should include a movie voucher if you buy a new pedal. That's cool. That would be cool. I mean, Boss has put out so many pedals over the years that they can make their own movie, right? And what I used to really like about the Boss pedals, and they don't do this anymore. They used to in the past. They should definitely do this again. You used to get books, little booklets with the Boss pedals, where they used to show you all of the other pedals that they have. So even though you bought, let's say, an overdrive pedal or a delay pedal, they would still show you like the flange pedals and the tuners and the EQ pedals and all the other stuff in their lineup. And then they would show you what pedals you would need to sound like a particular artist. So for example, they'd show you a picture of Andy Summers, and then they would show you these are the pedals, the Boss pedals that you would need on your board to get that Andy Summers sound, And they would do that with various artists. And I thought that was great because if you had the pedals, then you would, flip to that page and basically dial in, the settings, put the pedals in that particular order, dial in the settings, and you really did get that sound. And I thought it was fantastic. And I at one point I was looking online. This is how much of a geek I am. I was looking online to see if they were still available as a download, to be able to dial in some sounds. Because at one point I had quite a few of these Boss pedals, and I couldn't find it. What's the reason for staggered versus non-staggered Strat pickups? Any rule of thumb which to buy and why? Good question. Yeah. I mean, generally, the stagger in the pole is really to compensate for the curvature of the neck. So when you're dialing in your sound, going with a very flat flat pickup, where all the pole pieces are basically at the same level, you can't really compensate for the curvature of the neck. And a lot of the vintage guitars from Fender, 7.5 inch radius, 9 inch radius, and so on and so forth, the neck was pretty curved. So the staggered pole pieces would allow the actual poles to get closer to the strings as they would curve. So you can, balance out the sound a little bit better. What a lot of people don't know, however, is that the pole pieces are not fixed. If you have a pickup with the pole pieces completely flat, you can actually heat up your pickup with a heat gun, or maybe something a little less aggressive. Maybe a heat gun might be too hot, but maybe you can use like a hairdryer, for example. And then you can actually push out the pole pieces to create that stagger if you want. And you can get them aligned the way you need them to be. A lot of people don't know that, but that's an easy mod that you can do on your guitars if you feel that you're not getting the right sound. So does that answer your question? Rico says, I just bought Phil's used EVH Lunchbox 2. When you say Phil's, which Phil are you referring to there? So Dan was also looking at the Archer. Yeah, it seems like a really nice pedal, Dan. Rico wants to see the white Strat next to the Marshall. Sure. The white Strat. You talking about this guy right over here? Or are you talking about that one over there? There's two of them. Yeah, I'll show you. No problem. But this one's actually a Squire, right? Now I've shown this one before, so I don't know if this is the one you were talking about. But this is the Squire, not I gotta put the volume way lower on this. That was like at 2 because the pickups are hotter. It's gonna be very loud. I'm trying to watch the volume levels. And I'm picking like really light. So this is the the Squire. This is a Squire Contemporary. More of a modern take in terms of the radius on the neck. The pickups obviously are humbuckers. 2-point trem. Only a volume and a tone. There's no 3 knobs on this one. I did a full review on this one also in my video archive. And I bought 2 of these because I like them so much. I bought the white one and the red, which I both still have. So if you're interested in you know, learning all about these amps, these guitars, check out that video. Check it out. Nico's asking me, what do I think about the Seymour Duncan SH4 JB bridge with the SH159 neck on the PRS 245 like yours, and mine pull the trigger on a set without researching them first? Well, the JB is definitely, I mean, first of all, that combination is in countless guitars. A lot of people love that combination and feel like it's a really nice set that works well together. I like the JB. It's definitely hotter than the SH1 in the neck. So you're getting more of a smoother neck pickup and a little bit more bite with the JB. I have a JB in my Kramer Beretta here, special, and I like it. I like it a lot. I had that particular setup in a Charvel, and I wasn't crazy about the neck, but I'm really a hard guy to satisfy when it comes to neck pickups. So take that with a grain of salt. I like my neck pickups to be cutting a little bit. I like them to be brighter than normal. I don't like to have a bloated sounding neck pickup, and a lot of them that I've tried don't have the squawk or the I don't know how I can explain it, but I like to have more bite, more treble, more high mids in my neck pickups. So I ended up keeping the JB. The 59 I had swapped out for other pickups to try and find something that matches well. But I think it could work out for you. It depends on what you're after in terms of tone. Hey Golik, how are you my friend? Golik, a flagpole. I love you guys. Anyways, take it easy, Cohen. Talk to you soon, my friend. So Rico says I put the exact set in an Epiphone Les Paul with Floyd Rose. Huge upgrades from the stock Epi pickups. Yeah, definitely. You'll definitely see a difference. William says it's a good choice. I have the JB and Jazz set, and it's a solid set. The 59 is as good as the Jazz, maybe better. There you go. So a lot of people are super happy with that set. Randy says he purchased the Boss SY1 recently. Kinda cool and crazy. I'm not familiar with that, Randy. What is it? What does it do? Paul says the Strat pull piece for the G is set up for a wound G. Yeah, it depends. I put it down. It depends on the set. A lot of the pull pieces that are sticking out of these pickups are not always the same. If you look at staggered pickups from one pickup maker to another. They vary, but definitely you can, if you're using the wound G string, you can also lower that. Like I told you, just heat it up, melt the wax a little bit, and just push it in. Okay, so Rico was referring to Phil McKnight when he was talking about the lunchbox, the EVH lunchbox. So how do you like the lunchbox? How is it working for you? Which tuner do you have, Fat Philosopher? A lot of tuners I've noticed after a while end up having some issues with the low E strings. Do you have a snark by any chance? Is it like this one? Because this one does that from time to time. What I discovered is if the batteries are not fresh, it tends to do that sometimes. You can also just open up the battery compartment, just like reset the battery. Sometimes they move around in there, and it kind of causes that issue. And make sure that your volume is up also. Nico says, I'm changing from Alnico 2 Pro set / only for the nickel covers. A man after my own heart. Nico, I love the nickel covers. They're so nice. I put a set into my PRS right there. And I also put a set into my Bacchus. I don't think I made you guys where I talked about that. Let me grab that. Let me grab that one for you guys. One sec. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of upgrades this week with pickups. Not just the single coils. So the issue, I was having so much fun playing this pickup set here that I broke a string. So I didn't, I haven't replaced it yet. See, the low E string, of course. I hate when that happens. But really nice set of pickups here as well. So, and for those of you who don't know, Bacchus makes really sweet guitars. This is the Bacchus Universe. Also did a full review on my channel on this guitar. And this is what I put in here, guys. I mentioned I upgraded the pickups. I didn't tell you what I put in there. I upgraded the pickups. So originally, I had a set of Anthem pickups from Porter. And now I put in a set of Anthem Plus pickups from Porter. And they definitely sound different than the first set that I have. And I like these ones more. Definitely more. So I wanted to do a review for you on these pickups because I did do a review on the Anthem set, the original ones. I haven't done a review with the Anthem Plus. So that's going to be coming up as well. Great sounding pickups. Guys, there's so many things you can upgrade on your guitar, but pickups are so easy. And if you have a guitar that plays really nicely and you're just not bonding with it, don't sell the guitar. Just upgrade the pickups, man. I know you guys laugh at me every time I say this because I've done pickup upgrades so many times, but I'm telling you, once you have the right set of pickups in there, it's a night and day difference. Yeah, Paul, I know the new Rode is out. I contacted the guys from Rode about it and to see whether or not I might be able to get a unit to demo. They haven't gotten back to me. I think it's also because they don't have much inventory at this point. I don't know if it even started shipping yet. But it looks really cool. Because all you got to do is just pluck your string and it does the rest. It looks like a really sweet unit. I'd love to get my hands on one just to see how well it performs. But We'll see. We'll see. It might come through. Who knows? So Williams says he purchased a set of Wiggins Telecaster vintage wound pickups last night. Have you tried these out? Really cool looking wood engraved bobbins. No, I have not. I have not tried them, William. I don't really, I like to swap pickups and I like to try different things, but I don't always like to. I reluctantly upgrade my pickups when I really like a set. Like I said, the ones I had upgraded in the Strat, those were originally the Tone Riders, like I mentioned to you. These were the Tone Riders right here. I have them in the box right now, see? And they also have a staggered pole pieces with the pole pieces that have the little chamfer on them. They're not as staggered as aggressively, but they are staggered, and they're great sounding pickups, and I highly recommend these as well. So these are probably going to end up going into some other guitar eventually, but I keep them. I recycle them. So Nico wants to know, what would you recommend for PRS 245? What do you have in yours? I would actually, after some research, like Seth Lovers, if they're as good as they say they are. Impulse bought the JB in 59s. So here's the crazy thing, Nico. The PRS 245, the US made one. I still have the original pickups in that one. So those are PRS pickups. And I've been toying with the idea of swapping out the pickups in that particular guitar ever since I bought it. And I recently played it again with the Marshall and it sounded good, but it's definitely, the pickups are definitely finicky in terms of what kind of amplifier or setup you're playing them through. So, I mean, there's a lot of different choices when it comes to pickups, and I'm trying to be diplomatic here because I don't want to point you in the wrong direction. It all depends what kind of music you're playing. I mean, there's a lot of great sets out there. Look, the anthems are great. I put a set of two-stroke pickups into my Chipson. The two-stroke is also by Peg City. Loving those pickups. They sound really great. I'm also working with Peg City on an ATG, a custom set for Addicted to Gear. So I'm trying to see if we can get a set wound to my specs. And if everything works out and that set comes through and sounds the way I'm looking at getting it to sound, that set might quite possibly end up in the PRS. So, the Anthem, great pickups. Peg City makes some really nice pickups as well. Pariah makes great pickups if you're looking at a set that is a little bit more aggressive. They also have some other sets as well. I tried a great set from them called the Celebration. They make nice pickups. Monty's Guitars makes a really nice, authentic PAF set that works really great. I did a review on that one as well. Really nice neck pickup, nicely balanced between the neck and the bridge. High order pickups. I have a set of high order pickups in my Tokai. Great set as well. The custom wound for me, so he doesn't really have a name for them, but they're wound to my specs and I love them. There's a lot of choices, man. There's so many choices, so it's kind of hard to give you a one answer, like saying this is the one you should get. It depends on what you're playing, what kind of guitar, what kind of music, what the signal chain is. Sorry for being for giving you you know, a nondescript kind of answer there. But again, I would need some more information to give you the right answer. You got the same as my tobacco burst. So like the one that's over there, this guy. And you're playing a DSL 20. And what kind of music are you playing, Nico? Are you playing more modern music? Are you playing classic rock? What are you playing? Do you want more gain out of your guitar? Like, what are you looking at getting out of your guitar? Clarity, gain, punchiness. I know you're gonna probably say, yeah, all of that, but it's not always easy to get everything. Yeah, the Sheptone pickups get a lot of good reviews. They're not cheap though. Sheptones are definitely some nice sounding pickups. There's a lot of boutique pickup winders that have like some really nice sounding pickups, but they're expensive, man. Vox Guitars Rock says he has an SG copy with a Duncan 59 in the bridge position. I was thinking about putting a DiMarzio Super Distortion in the neck position. Why do you want to have so much distortion in in the neck? Just wondering. Asking for a friend. Have you guys also tried the 59 Classics? I'm a big fan of the 59 Classics. My 335 has the 59 Classics in it, and I like them. Paul says everything including the build is in-house, which is good quality, price, and reliability, but they're always behind. The charge is good. The charge is good for weeks, even with 9 guitars. Pretty cool. Like I said, Paul, I'd like to get my hands on one eventually. Even if I have to go out and buy it. I mean, if it works well, it saves me time. It's good. Jeff K's here. He says, hi, Tony. I have a Fender Artist Jeff Beck Strat. I'm thinking about replacing the bridge single coil with a humbucker. Any suggestions, a JB or a PAF perhaps? So are you looking at going the slim humbuckers, or you want to actually put in a full-size humbucker? Because there's a lot of those mini humbuckers that some people are quite satisfied with. So let me know what versions are you considering putting in there. So I gotta like seriously change the strings. I actually bought some strings specifically after I broke this one. So I gotta do that later today and get this guitar back in circulation. I'm gonna take off this string because I'm gonna get it in the eye for sure. The other thing I've been playing around with just recently, just because I was in the store and I hadn't walked into a physical store in such a long time, I noticed that they came out with these picks. I don't know if you've seen them before. You may have. I had a set of these in black. Now they have white ones. These are called Ernie Ball Prodigy picks. The reason why I buy these, I like the shape because it's basically you're getting like 3 picks in one. No matter where you grab it, the point is always the right one because they're all identical. So even if one of the points gets kind of nicked or used up, you have 2 more, and they're pretty thick. These are what's thickness? These are 2 millimeters, and they look a lot like the chicken picks that I like. Except the chicken picks are quite expensive. These are less expensive. They still cost about $10 a bag. So they're not, they're not cheap, but they're not the same material as the chicken picks. I like the chicken picks better. These ones have kind of a little bit of a softer finish to them. So when you're actually picking, it kind of mutes the sound a little bit, whereas the chicken picks definitely have more ping to them. Brighter sound, and Oh man, I'm out of tune because of the broken string. Anyway, so I just tried these because I thought they'd be cool to try. I still like the chicken picks better. Just so you know, in case you haven't tried them. Otherwise, I typically use different picks. I like the jazz picks as well. These are a little bit smaller. You can see quite a difference here. So these ones are better because I have fat fingers and they end up, I don't get as much meat from the finger when I pick. So it makes a difference for me. So Vox says, because I have super distortions in my Vox standard Model 24 and they sounded fabulous, but I'm wondering if the SD will get along with the 59s. I'm not really sure. I haven't tried that combination, so I'm hesitant to say go for it. I mean, you can definitely go for it and see. It might work out. Just make sure that the polarity on the pickups, if they're not the same set, are going to be compatible. Because, you know, north-south, hey guys? You don't want to put two north-facing or two south-facing humbuckers. A lot of people don't know that. They put in humbuckers into their guitar and it sounds like really thin and not really good because they're out of phase. Definitely want to check when you're swapping pickups. Keep that in mind. William says, I like the Friedman pickups. They're really good too. I haven't had an opportunity to try anything from Friedman in terms of pickups, but I have a feeling that they're going to be pretty expensive. So Jeff says full size. Okay, so you want to go with a full size humbucker and then the two single coils in the middle and the neck position. I would probably, if you want to get some good bite, try the something from Pariah. Just they have some, you know, versions. Pasadena is one of them where it's kind of like the EVH type sound. I've tried a few from them that are not necessarily just single humbuckers. They're a set. They sound pretty good, so they might work for you. But again, remember phase. So even when you're putting a humbucker and two single coils, you want to make sure it's going to be, you know, north, south, north, or south, north, south. You don't want to just be putting a humbucker in there hoping for the best because it might not work out for you. So keep that in mind. If you're going to buy something, you might want to ask them before you actually buy something. Tonefish likes the Tortex Flex .73 picks. It's a tiny bit stiffer feeling than a Fender Medium. Yeah, and I have bags of picks all over the place over here, and I usually put them in containers or bags or pill bottles or whatever I can find. And a lot of them, like, I don't use, but I really do like the chicken picks. So far, the chicken picks are really nice. The V picks are nice too. Expensive, but they're nice. I just keep on losing my picks all the time, so I don't like to spend, you know, $5 on one pick. No problems, Vox Guitars. I appreciate it. If I can help you, I'm more than happy. Rico says, Tony, I've heard of a pickup being microphonics. What does that actually mean? Microphonic often happens in pickups that are not waxed potted, and I can show you what that is. We'll see if these pickups are microphonic. Generally, is when you can talk into your pickups and you're going to hear it through your amplifier. So these pickups are not microphonic, but there might be another set here that is. Generally, it's just, you know, pickups that are not wax potted properly, or maybe not wax potted at all, that become microphonic over time, where you can actually pick up sounds that are not meant to be picked up, even when you're just talking into the pickups. So here, 1 2 1 2. Now you can't really hear it, but some old pickups or cheap pickups have a tendency to be microphonic sometimes. So that's what that means. All right, guys, I only meant to be online for an hour. I've been online for 2 hours now. I hate to leave you guys, but I do have other things that I need to take care of today, and I'm sure some of you also do. So I want to sort of wrap it up. If you guys have any last questions, give you the opportunity to ask a few questions before we say goodbye. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. I'm really happy that we have a winner for the NUX Mighty Plug, and we'll be shipping that out soon. I want to say that there's going to be some more videos coming on my channel as well. Be working on those this week, and hopefully I can get something new out to you guys, because I think you guys deserve to have new content as well. If we have new people in the house and you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, because we're trying to grow our community. We're actually almost at about 21,000. We're not far from 21,000 subscribers. So definitely subscribe. I love to see new faces in the house, and definitely we try and give you as much information as we can during these live events. And if you guys find it useful, please come back. We do this every Sunday, 10 a.m. It's a little early. I'm also considering possibly doing a spur of the moment nighttime edition, which maybe won't be announced. I might just do it when I have insomnia one evening, and just randomly pop up on your feed. And if you guys want to join in for that, you can. Always looking for new faces to join the channel as well. So I hope you guys do appreciate the content that we're putting together, and I appreciate the thumbs up. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys subscribing. If you want to help the channel out, there's always swag that you can grab at the bottom of my videos. Shirts, stickers, cups, whatever it may be. It's there for the taking. And obviously, guys, also please take advantage of the rebate codes that I post on my videos. I put one on the review I did on the Peg City humbuckers. I put one in today's comment section for the single coils. And in the future, if I can swing deals with some people that are willing to offer discount codes, I will put them in the note section of the video. So please check there. If you're looking for pickups and you want to have a discount and you don't want to pay full price, you can grab them there. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Please stay safe. I'll give you an update next Sunday as to how I'm doing after I get shot with the vaccine. Hopefully things will be okay. If I'm not there, maybe things didn't go okay, but I'm hoping to be there, guys. So please tune in for that next Sunday. Have a fabulous day, everyone. Rock on, and see you soon.